Hello everybody, it's Andrea Mercier aka Ann Loam, and I'm here with my very first arting video for the CAC hashtag Love Fall Art. I'm so excited about this. So the 17th to the 20th, the CAC, which is the Collaborative Arts Community, is going to be having their third monthly kind of online arts gallery, and if you put in the hashtag Love Fall Art, you'll see a whole bunch of established and brand new artists bringing you everything from fiber crafts to paper crafts, scrapbooking. I saw some stuff today with miniature oil paints, tons and tons of different things, and I'm hoping to become a regular contributor to this particular community. So this is my very first arting video. I do have some other videos up on my site detailing my studio cleanup to get ready to start doing this. So the theme for this month is fall art, and I'm going to do a piece of mixed media abstract art today. But what I first wanted to show you is something I'm very proud of. 2 years ago, when I was in a fine arts program, we also had to do a fall painting, and this is the one that I did. This is a digital print of the original, which was a 16 by 20 canvas, and I sold it, and then everybody kind of was saying, oh, I really like that, can I have one? So I went and made some limited edition prints. This isn't one of those. This was an artist proof. My limited edition prints are all numbered and signed. They're for sale on my Etsy store if you're interested in going to look at them at annloam.etsy.com. But I just wanted to show you this because this is one of my favorite pieces I've ever done, and today we're going to do something completely different to celebrate Love Fall Art. So I will be back in a couple of minutes and we'll get started. And so we're going to start. This is an old piece that I started years and years ago when I first started painting. Actually, I've only been painting for 4.5 years. Before that, I never put brush to canvas or brush to paper. But I was in a Michaels store one day, and the nice lady said, would you like to learn to paint? And I said, I've always wanted to learn to paint. So I signed up for a $25 class, and that was the beginning. And then when I was laid off, I was given an opportunity to go back to school. So I did that and took a fine arts course, and the rest is history. So this particular one was from way back, actually 4.5 years ago, and it's not a great painting. It wasn't even a great start. So I'm just going to gesso over it. And that's the beautiful thing about painting, is that you can do something and then decide that you really don't like it, and you can just gesso over it and start again. I've actually gessoed over pieces and pieces that have texture in them, and I've gessoed over them and sanded them down and gessoed them again and started over. I've actually got several pieces hanging around that's all the substrate was an old canvas that just needed to be gessoed over. So I wanted to demonstrate to you that you don't always have to start with a fresh canvas. You can start with a old canvas, something you didn't like, something that didn't work for what you wanted to do. So what I'm going to do is just put a first layer on. I added a little bit of water first just to make it move on the canvas. This is a canvas panel, so it's a board that has canvas on it. I got these at Michaels. This is the Artist Loft at Michaels. They're very inexpensive. I think you can get like a package of 5 or 10 for $4 or $5 here in Canada at any rate. So, and this is just the same thing. This is a Michaels white acrylic gesso. I have an actual artist quality gesso, but for this particular project I just wanted to put down a few layers of gesso. So brush in there, and I'm going to use my heat gun just to quickly dry this. gesso is, the first layer is dry. I'm actually going to use a smaller brush. That other one held a little bit too much water, so I find that that coat wasn't. This is a fairly thick product. If you don't know what gesso is, it's acrylic gesso is basically a base of an acrylic paint that has chalk or a chalk-like substance in it, and what it does is it gives the canvas or the canvas board or the paper or the whatever sort of substrate you're using, it gives it some tooth, which means it's not completely smooth, so when you start putting on your next layer of paint, it has something to stick to. You don't want a completely smooth surface when you're dealing with well, especially with acrylics, right? Because acrylic paints are plastic. Basically, that's what they are. They're polymers. They are part of the plastic family, and they need something to stick to so that when they cure, they'll stay on the substrate. And gesso is an excellent prepping material. If you don't have gesso, you can just use white paint. I've even heard of some of my poorer art student colleagues and peers using just white house paint, like a latex, and just throwing it down, covering everything up, and starting fresh. As you can see, this goes on fairly easily, and the objective here is simply to give me a fresh start. I can still see the colors through the bottom, but that doesn't bother me because I'm going to put so many other layers on it. You won't see it in the end anyways. By the time I put papers on and stenciling and everything else, it'll all be covered up. I just wanted something nice and mostly white to start with so that I could begin. So I'm going to not make you watch me dry this. I'm going to dry this and then I'll be back and we'll start by slapping on some different fall themed colors. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, and we're back. So the first thing I did was I got out all my, well, some of my fall color paints. So I decided that reds, yellows, and oranges were going to be what I was going to do. And as I was pulling them out, and I've only pulled out my my acrylic paints. I have PBOs and golden liquids, and I have a ton of other ones, but because this is my first video and I'm kind of jumping in with both feet, I decided today just to stick with the mediums that I'm used to, and this is what I used in school. So I'm just going to use these, but I have lots of others, so in future videos I'll be doing a lot more mixing in of different kinds of paints. And as I was pulling them out, I noticed that I have a lot of different brands, depending on which class I was in or which project I was doing. I had different kinds of paints. So I think I'm going to do a video to talk about different kinds of paints for those who are just beginning, especially who might be afraid of artist quality paints like Winsor & Newton because they're a little bit pricey, or Grumbacher. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the Liquitex Basics and the Amsterdam paints. Those are very good quality. They're considered a level 1, but at any rate, I'll do a video and I'll pull out all the different kinds I have and we can talk about them so that you can become more familiar with the different brands that are out there. But this is what I started with. Just, I'm going to do reds and oranges and yellows and just cover this with splotches of paint everywhere to kind of represent, you know, a leaf pile or something like that, and that'll be my base layer, and then after that we'll do some stenciling and some textures and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm going to be using a very soft nylon brush for this, I believe. You know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to use a little bit of a shorter bristle. So it's the same kind of material. This is a nylon bristle brush as opposed to a real bristle brush, but it has more spring to it, so I'll get more slapping motion. So I have a palette over here. I don't know if I'm going to use it right away. I just want to put little tiny dabs of paint down. So this is a bright red, and we'll just see where this takes us. We'll just shove some paint on. Doesn't have to be anywhere, doesn't have to go anywhere. When I was in school, they always told us to make little X's to make sure we got good coverage. And that is true. You want to get good coverage when you're creating an acrylic painting. You don't have to. Some people like the canvas to show through. Some people want that texture to show. I was never one of those. I always disliked when I was able to see the canvas through my painting, and I always thought I didn't put enough layers on, or I didn't do enough to it, but it all depends on what you like to do. So here we'll go with a little bit, actually I want a little bit more yellow on this one. So that's just a light yellow. And then and it's okay to blend them. See the nice orange that you get with the blend, and then you can try and, if you want, you can try and keep your brush clean. You can always rinse it, but I always like the merging of the colors, especially along the edges. It gives them a nice feathered look. I'm not too concerned if they mix, because again, this is just the first layer. We're definitely going to be putting on 17,000 layers of paint. I was well known in school for that. I would just put layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And the reason why I wanted more yellow right now was because I'm going to add the orange and some other reds, some other hues of red, and see if I can make some more colors. So let's just rinse that off and add. What's this one? This one is an orange. Does it have a name? It does. Azo Orange. I'm going to put a big blob right there. Let's see what I get. I'm not worried if I cover up the other paints. We can always come back and add more color. There we go. Nice mix there. Move some of that over here. See if we can get it to mix with the red. The thing about acrylic paints is they do dry more quickly than oils, obviously. Oil paints can take several days, several weeks to dry, depending on how thick of a layer goes down, how many layers go down. So just smacking that out. And as you can see, I'm trying to fill in all of the canvas textures. Again, that's me. That doesn't have to be you. You don't have to do that. If you want to see the canvas, if you want to see the texture, that is fine. So I'm just slapping that around a little bit more. There we go. Now, what's the next color? I want another red. So the first one was a bright red. I'm going to use a Rubine red. So a Rubine red, I don't know if you can see the difference here. So this is bright red. It tends to be an orangey red, and then Rubine tends to be bluish red. So you always have to, if you're trying to mix colors, make sure you know what base comes with, because obviously a bluey one will be more purple, and an orange, a yellowy orange base will give you more of an orange shade. So depending on what you're looking for, you might choose a different red. So this one is a very deep with the undercolor. I'm looking at my monitor. It doesn't look as purpley on the monitor as it does on my canvas. Here it's a very, like, kind of a, I hate to say it, like a blood red. Some people call it a crimson. It's not an alizarin crimson. This is an alizarin crimson, which has a lot of blue in it. But again, I'm just going to smack down some more paint. Don't be worried about what it looks like now. This is, again, just first layers. And as soon as I cover up all the white for my first layer, I'm going to give it a dry. And then we'll come back and take a peek at it and see maybe what other colors it needs in the background. I want something else to go there. A little bit of red here in the corner. You don't want to overwhelm the canvas, but again, this is going to be a background. It's going to be covered up with so many other layers. I really like this, where it's squished all together and you can see the orange and everything. My brush a little bit of a rinse. I'm actually going to switch my paper towel for this rag. See if I can force out some more of the water and color. There you go. I'm actually using too much color when I go down. It's a bad habit. I tend to throw down a lot of paint. Sometimes I'm not very frugal. The frugal crafter would just be crying right now if she heard me say that. So, I think her name is Lindsay. Anyway, she's wonderful. She's hilarious. I like her a lot. She's one of the ones that I watch on a regular basis. So I'm just going to put a little dab. This is a heavy body paint. This is a Liquitex heavy body, so it's a very thick paint. It can be hard to move around if you're not using a true bristle brush, but because I'm only putting down a little bit, it shouldn't be, no, it's not too bad. It's moving quite well. That's good. But if I put a big blob down with a tachyon brush, it bends the brush and you can't get a lot of coverage, and so for that you need a really good bristle brush, which is this one right here. And the bristle brush has enough strength in the bristles to push around that heavy body paint. So that's a little bit of a brighter orange. I kind of like that. Kind of a golden, yellowy golden orange. I like that. So, oops, still a little bit of white here. I want to cover that up. I don't know if you can notice, but so now that the red has dried, when I put the orange over it, this is a bit translucent. So it actually still lets the red show through from the back without covering it over. So I'm just going to put some dabs of color here and here and here. Ooh, that one wasn't dry yet. That's great. I got some nice swirls. Very good. I like that. Alright. Brush in water. First layer. I'm going to dry this with my heat gun, and then we will come back and we will start with layer number 2. We're back. So I dried this with my heat gun, and then I was cleaning out the brushes that were in my container, and as I was moving them over to my sink, a big blob of water fell right here, and then I wiped it up without thinking about it, and there you go. So you can get these wonderful looks and textures just by removing as well. So that's just water that has picked up the acrylic paint, because although acrylic paint dries fairly quickly, it takes a few hours to completely cure, and once it is, it becomes like plastic. As I said earlier, it's a plasticized, it's a polymer that's plasticized color, and then once it's cured, that's it. It's solid, which is one of the reasons why a lot of acrylic artists don't need to varnish, because once the acrylic has cured, it's solid. It's staying there pretty much forever. The only way you're going to get it off is by sanding it or carving it, which I've also done. So I wanted you to know what that was, not to worry. So I cleaned off my bigger brush, and I'm going to just switch to a smaller. This is a real bristle brush. This is, well, in the old days it used to be boar bristle. I'm not sure what they're made from now. I don't think it's boar bristle, but it's another natural bristle. So my objective with this round is to make patches of color again, but just make smaller patches. Oh, see there? I had a big gunk of paint. And now it's gone. Texture. Okay, so I'm going to put just a couple of different colors. Paint booger. I'm just going to put down this one here. This is cadmium yellow deep hue. And whenever they say hue, it doesn't have real cadmium in it. And of course the basics is a basic level 1 paint. So cadmium is a real metal, and it's what in the old days used to color yellows. The problem is that they're very expensive to get, so when they say hue, it means they're not using the real cadmium, but which is perfectly fine, just so that you know that's what the difference is. So this is a translucent kind of a color, so I'm just going to add this over where I want stuff to be kind of brighter, more yellowy. I like that effect. That was kind of cool. See, the yellow still shows through, the orange still shows through. Right here, you're getting kind of like a yellowy glaze over the red. I'm going to do that over here. So that deepens this orange from kind of a flat looking orange into more of a bright orange. And again, layers, layers. I just wanted to cut down some of those big red spots because the red can be, you can fill in that spot there and fill in that spot there. There we go. So I just wanted to put a little something on top to cut the red a bit. And then I'm going to add, this is yellow ochre, which is kind of a brownish yellow. It's actually one of my favorite colors. Well, actually not brown, I should say it's a grayish yellow. It's a very interesting color. And I'm just gonna put some dabs here and there. You don't necessarily have to paint it. You can stipple paint on. You don't have to brush paint on. You can stipple it. You can roll it with brayer. You can do whatever you want with it. The point is to get the paint onto the substrate in whichever way is easiest or more comfortable for you. Some people are not comfortable brushing, or they have problems with their wrist. It's not a comfortable thing for them to do that, so they can just come and dab. And I'm just going to take some of the brightness out of this yellow here and here, just a little bit all over the place, a little dab. Because not all the leaves in a leaf pile are a pure lovely color, right? Some of them have started to turn brown, some of them have started to rot in a leaf pile, so you're not going to get just wonderful, beautiful, bright colors. You're going to get different shades of all of the colors. Greens, browns. There we go. Kind of like that. I want a little bit more orange. So I'm going to go back to my orange. Just over here, over here, over here, over here. There we go. There we go. Just kind of blending that in. Blend that in with that yellow. That orange is nice, but it's not quite orange enough, which is kind of fun. Your orange isn't orange enough. So I'm going to take a little dab of that heavy body, which is a highly pigmented area, just a little bit. Just add a little bit more. See, that's got just a little bit more orange to it. And of course the yellow that I used on the brush before this is getting pushed out when I stipple or dab like this. I'll put that over there. I'll put that a little bit over there. Kind of stippling and blending. And here and there. There we go. So my goal for this layer was to just make smaller patches and to make sure that all of the white of the canvas was gone. Now I shouldn't fuss with the edges right now because I'll go around the edge later with something else, but so we had large patches of color And now this layer, I've tried to break up those large patches with smaller patches. And I mean, that's what I want to do. That doesn't mean that's what you have to do. But so right now, I'm fairly happy with that. I'm gonna have to look at my lights. There we go. Woo. That's what we have. In the camera, that looks terrible because there's no blue. Ah, there we go. This is my first video setup as well, so anyways, I'm really pleased with those colors. That's my brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video again, dry this, and then come back and we're going to talk about the next layers. I'm actually going to take some of this white here, not gesso, I'm just going to use titanium white, and I'm going to push a little bit of this back to get ready to start. I actually have a leaf stamp that I want to use, that I want to put down some more background colors. I'm not going to do it with ink, I'm actually going to do it with paint. Alright, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're back. So, as I mentioned earlier, I've only been doing art for about 4.5 years, and my first real introduction was to acrylic paints and acrylic painting. But I've been watching lots, for the last 1.5 years, I've been watching lots and lots of art journalers who are doing their thing, which is really cool as well. And they taught me about baby wipes. They use baby wipes for tons and tons of things. Obviously, this was not something I learned in school, but I love the baby wipe. So I'm just, as you can see, it's taking off a little bit of color because although it's dry, it's not cured yet, but that's okay. I just want to put a little bit of this back into the background, which is fine because we're going to be putting more layers on, so I'm just taking a little bit of the brightness off of it. And that's okay, I'm just you can still see, it's just pushing it to the background a little bit. And I have to say, love the baby wipes. Over here. Just a little bit, just to put kind of a veil of fog over everything. Okay, I don't like what I did to that corner because it has too much of a line. Let's see if I can lift some of it off. Yeah, I can, but again, I will cover it with something else. Now, I'm going to take, I made some homemade sprays because when I first started watching the art journaling videos, everyone had like sprays and distress paints and stuff, distress inks, and I didn't have any of that, so I kind of made my own. I'm going to use this just to protect my computer. So in a future video, I will show you how I made my first batch, which was these ones. Liked them, but didn't love them, so I've come up with a new formula, but I'm too cheap to throw these out and start from fresh, so I just want to... This is just a little bit of gold. I know that looks like a lot, but I'm about to dab some off. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't get any all over my computer. So I'm going to take a fresh baby wipe so that I don't get white much up into it. Just going to give it a little bit of shimmer in the background. I'm just going to move that over some of that white. Again, this is all about layers. Layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And I always joke and say, yeah, my 17,000 layers. I do have a piece, actually it's right here. I was going to use this as my substrate today. So this is a piece of masonite. So this is a board. Patty Tolley Parrish uses clay board for a lot of her projects recently, and which is masonite with the clay board part on top of it. So this didn't actually have a second substrate, it was just masonite. And this is an experiment I did when I was in art in college. And basically what it is about 200 layers of glaze. So I started out with yellow, so a really, really thin glaze that I made up myself. And then I let the yellow part dry. And then what I did is I came in with red and did it a little bit here and just got darker and darker and darker. And then I got this nice gradient glaze. You can see where there's this white sheen. I made the mistake of not letting it cure, and I put it up against another piece of paper and the paper stuck, and I was trying to rub it off the other day and I wasn't able to. So basically what I'm going to do is use this one day, I'll show you how I did it, and then we'll use this one to create something else on top of it. But I loved it just because of the way that the gradient happened with the glaze. So that's just yellow and then red glaze slowly added until it became really, really dark red. Alright, so yeah, that had at least 200 layers of glaze in it. It took me an entire day with a hair dryer, sitting there for an entire day with the hair dryer and this big bucket of glaze and just slapping it on. Alright, there we go. Just going to take my heat gun out for a second. That's not going to take very long to dry. I was doing that, I was thinking I'm going to put some blue in. Blue spray. Now there's two reasons why I'm going to put blue in. One, blue is the complementary color of orange, which is, you know, the majority of this is kind of an orangey color. So to break it up a bit, and two, because I think I want something that looks like sky, which is weird because it's a pile of leaves, but you know, it could be looking through a bunch of leaves on the top of a tree, right? And you'd still see blue through it. Just a tiniest bit. There, I'm happy. I'm just gonna dab that. Nope, I'm not going to dab it because it's picking up too much. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the first layer of, yeah, that's just picking it up. I don't like that. Alright, we're going to do it another little quick. Stop. I've been known to overdo it in the past. Okay, I'm going to dry that and then I'll come back. Hi again. So this is dry now and I started pulling out some of the stamps that I wanted to use. I love this. I got this at Impression Obsession. This these leaves, and I have this big project in my brain that I want to do, and I'm going to need lots of leaves, so I picked this up and I love it. So I'm going to use that to stamp. I also had this piece of paper up on my wall for the last few days. I didn't know what the hashtag was going to be, the Love Fall Art hashtag. I kind of guessed that it was going to be something about fall because I figure October will probably be something about Halloween. I don't know. But I had put this piece of paper up just to kind of start inspiring me about what I wanted to do once I found out what the hashtag was. So I just want to tear this up and add it on a little bit. I'm going to use some matte gel medium, which I'm almost out of. I have to get some more. So I'm just going to... I don't like straight edges. I really don't. Don't like straight edges. Which is kind of funny because I really enjoy math and accounting, and that's kind of mentally about straight edges. I really don't like straight edges in my art unless it's perspective. And I'm not going to put all of these on. However, oh, there we go. Oh yeah, I'm almost completely out. This is old. Oh my, this might be too old. Oh my god, it's solid. Okay, that's going in the garbage. Let's see what else I have. I have a gloss gel medium. I'll use that one. Or I could use Mod Podge. I'll use the Mod Podge because it's matte. I bought the Mod Podge to go to the Maryland Art Weekend this summer with Patty Tolley-Pierce and Paula Phillips, Journal Artista, and I ended up not using it, so I have this huge container of Mod Podge that has never been opened, so I might as well use it. Some people don't like Mod Podge. I would never use it as a top layer. I would always go back to my matte medium or my gloss medium as a top layer, but for a middle layer or a base layer to attach stuff to your substrate, I don't see a problem with it. But again, it's all about personal preference, right? Some people swear by Mod Podge. I just find it a little bit, dries a little bit tacky, so I prefer, although it's nice and thin, so that's great. It's nice and thin, stick it down. Now those white areas, that'll all get covered up with another layer. Again, I'm all about the 17,000 layers. I just want to put something in the background. And again, I don't look straight, so this can't be straight. This can't be straight. A little bit there. So just stick out, and then I just press really hard to make sure I get all of my bubbles out. Okay, what else do I have? That's too big. I really like this triangle one. There, this triangle one. Right here. Things going in different directions. And this one. The rest will all go into my scrap box. I have a box and a drawer, and every time I use a scrapbooking paper, I just take whatever's left over and I put it in there. Because sometimes I just need texture in the background and I don't care what the picture or the pattern is on it. I just need something that's gonna give texture, and then I just throw those on there. So again, like Mod Podge, I just don't like it for a final layer. Completely up to you. I just don't like the way it cures. It doesn't completely dry slick. And when I'm selling my artwork, I want to make sure that the final layer is fingerprint proof. So if I'm using mixed media, I will put a final fixative, or I don't varnish. It was something I was taught in school. My teacher was fairly adamant against varnishing if it wasn't oil, because acrylics cure so hard. But because when I do my mixed media, I need something on it, and you need a really fine touch with varnish. If you don't do it correctly, you can really screw it up. So I've just been using an acrylic fixative or a finish spray, and that's proved to be very good for me. I like the way it works out. So let's see. I'm gonna do. I need yellow. I need yellow. Oh my god, I need yellow. I'm just gonna put a little bit of yellow here, and this is actually dry. Just gonna, I know you're saying, oh my god, she's going over it. It's okay, don't worry about it. It's okay, don't worry about it. I was going to say I'm a professional, I know what I'm doing, but I'm not. I mean, I have sold a couple of my pieces over the years. I've been very fortunate to have sold a couple of originals and some of my limited edition prints. However, I would never say that I am a working artist. I'm certainly not supporting myself with my art yet. That's one of my goals. Okay, so a little bit of yellow, just A, to take away that white, and B, because I wanted more yellow. And what happened to my lovely orange? I've actually decided I'm going to do that leaf stamp in a really dark red. So I'm just going to use a little bit more yellow and a little bit more orange so that when I put the red on it, it will show up. Yeah, that's my plan. Now, I reserve the right to change my mind. There we go. A little bit more orange. See, so there's still some red showing through, and there's still some gold showing through, and there's still the blue showing through. But basically what I'm doing is just taking out the dark color of red so that when I use that stamp, there we go. There's a method to my madness. I'm just not sure what it is yet. I just don't know for sure. I think I want to use this alizarin crimson. Let me just... Ooh, another paint booger. No, that's not the right red. I'm trying, like, for a leaf, right? It's not the right red for leaves. Let's see, let's try this crimson. This lessons learned. Use your paints more often so that they don't seal themselves. It's their way of protesting from not being used more regularly. So there's a nice red. Okay, that's the one I want. So, brayer? Which brayer do I want? I want the soft brayer. Yeah, this is the soft brayer. Is that one? So I'm going to get some paint on here. Scooch that up a little bit. Not worried about making a mess. Normally I would use an acrylic block, but I actually don't have one this big. So for these background ones that I bought from Impression Obsession, I've just been doing it this way. The hardest part is getting it up without making a mess. Yay! Okay, I like that. I think I'm going to stand up for this next impression so that I can get a better contact with the canvas. Sorry, my head's in the way. Alright. There, that's even better. Awesome. Okay. So, now I want to wipe off my brayer because I'm going to do that now with a lighter red in the other two corners and overlap. So again, too much paint on my palette, too much paint down. I will forever, I really would like to overcome that foilable that I have with the too much paint thing. I don't want to waste that paint. What can I do with that? Of course, I just wiped the paint off the brayer, Andrea. Da-da! Da-da! Let me just... This will all be, the edge will all be done in something later, but for now, at least I'm using the paint. I don't like not using the paint. I'm just going to go right around the edge, cover up any again, not worried about what this layer looks like. Well, mildly concerned, but very mildly, because again, I still have another 10, 20 layers to go. Did I get all the edges? Right here. See, the Frugal Crafter will be very proud of me for using up the rest of that paint. And I'm going to turn it when I stamp this time, because I don't want there to be an up or a down with this until the very end when I put some form of sentiment on it. There we go. Okay. So, lessons learned for future videos. Be careful with my paint. I also want to tell you that when I ink with my stencils and my stamps, I tend not to clean them. I'll just put them on a piece of paper and pull whatever remaining paint is left off. However, since I have the white here now, like if this ever got really cruddy, I would just put it in a Tupperware container with some warm water and some Murphy's oil soap just down in it, and then I would give it a wipe down and see it takes it all off. Right now, if it ever got really cruddy, I would use the Murphy oil soap and the warm water. Okay, another baby wipe. Oh, my baby wipes. Okay, let's go with some orange. This video is getting to be really long. I'm going to try and speed it up. I'm going to cut out a lot of the parts where it's just me yakking to make it easier for everybody. Here's my orange. Just going to hold that up like that because I still want that white. There we go. Let's see if I can better stand up again. I'm gonna need some leverage here. Now there might still be some red paint left on this, but that's okay because that'll be really cool if they mixed. Again, my head's in the way, sorry. I have to get used to filming. I'm not used to filming at all. Oh, there we go. Let's see how that is. Oh, I like that. That's way more subtle. Way more subtle. I might do some with some yellow too then. Maybe I'll do that with a nice bright yellow. Alright. Yeah, very subtle. I like that. Okay, I'm going to give this a quick wipe. I'm going to spray some more gold on it because I'm missing my gold. And I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to do the yellow together and see how that looks. And I'm going to have to start thinking about what kind of embellishments I want to put on there. Look at that. All that paint. Oh. Wipe this off too. You don't need to watch me doing this. Here is my gold spray. I also have a yellow spray. So there's, which one's this? This is just Recollections. I got it at Michael's. I think it was on sale. Just gonna put a little bit of that down. Ooh, too much. Too much. Step away. Step away. it up too much. That's okay. Oh, my mouse. My husband's gonna kill me if he finds out that I spray painted the new mouse that he gave me. Here we go. Give us now. Alright. I like this. I like this a lot. I'm going to pull back a little bit here, just a little bit, and I'm going to redo my red leaves. I like it, but I did too much. Yeah, too much. And again, if you get to this point and you go, oh my god, what have I done? You can just gesso and remove and start again. It's all good. I see it, and I took too much off there. So I'm going to dry this, reapply some of the stamps, dry it again, and then come back so that you don't have to watch this all again. Alright? Okay. Okay, so I went to put down some other layers and I didn't dry it, and then I took a baby wipe and wiped it and I smudged everything, so that was very exciting. So the bad news is I wiped down everything that was there that hadn't cured yet and took it off, which left me pretty much down to the paper again. Except for some stuff around the edges, so huge disappointment. However, I went over it with a couple more layers and I actually like it better now than I did before, so lessons learned. I also redid some blue sprays, I did some yellow sprays and some more gold sprays, and put down red and some orange and some yellow leaves. So that's why it looks, well, significantly different than it did when I last spoke to you. So yeah, I smudged it and that was the end of that. So I am going to add just, so these are complementary colors. So yellow, the complement of yellow is purple and the complement of red is green. I just haven't decided which green I want to go with yet. And the complementary of orange is blue, but not really that blue. It should be probably more of a real blue as opposed to marine blue. Yeah, we'll go with that one. So I just wanted to put a little bit of the complementary colors in. I'm finding that it's like really overwhelming, and I'm really new to embellishment, so I don't have a large and I probably never will have a large assortment of embellishment, so for me it's more about the paint and the ink and stuff like that. And I'm still learning, as I said. I've only been doing this for a few years, and then I pulled out my copper because I've decided that I want to do copper on top as my final layer to make everything nice and shiny. So I'm just trying to decide here. I think I'm going to go with a nice small little leaf, and I brought my sponge, and I'm just going to put down some very just some, not dark, just some very light kind of shadowing of leaves, and this ultramarine blue is almost empty. Come on, you got one more little squirt in you, don't you? Yeah, there you go. Just a little bit. I don't want a lot. I just want like a real light touch. See how this looks. I hate it. I'll just wipe it off. It's a beautiful thing. I'll just wipe it off. Okay, that's not horrible. Kind of got a greenish cast to it. Just don't want it to be overwhelming. Just want to put a little bit of complementary contrasting colors down. I could live with that. Upside down. Let me do one of these ones here. Okay, I've had the stem face that way, stem face that way, and stem to face that way. And it's easy to convince yourself to just do it in the corners because you're afraid, and then it just looks like 4 things in the corner. Try not to do that. I mean, do it if you really want to, but try to mix it up a bit. So that's 3 in blue. Let's see, purple. Ooh, see that liquid that's coming? Oh, you can't, it's off camera. Never mind. I was gonna say my paints haven't been used in a while. Alright, so we're gonna go back and do purple one. Ooh, that purple is really goopy. It hasn't been used in a long time. It is protesting. Alright, let's see. How that comes out. Well, you can't really tell the difference between the purple and the blue, so let me put a different purple here. Oh, it's the same purple. Oh. This one. Oh yeah, this is more violet. Alright, let's try that. I think I'm going to go over this one. Let's see if I can match it back up again. There we go. Got more of a violet hue to it. I've just added a little touch of white into this new paint color just to make it a tad more purpley moldy so that you can tell the difference between the blue and the purple. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I'm going to put a little bit more white into that. I tend to have white out on my palette all the time because usually I'm trying to lighten colors. I don't put much out on my palette, but I will put a little bit of white down. I'm going to pick this one here. I want them all to be dark. That's not bad. I'm not gonna say anything about that. It's kind of pretty. But you see how they're lined, and I don't like that lining up thing. I don't. This can get me into trouble. I'm going to take. Off. Purple. There we go, that's a little bit better. And I think this one right here, like that, so it looks like it's falling. Alright, and then some green. Green. So I was going to go with the darker green, but now because these are pretty dark, I'm going to go with a lighter green. And I have one out of room on my palette. Squish over everybody. It's pink. I'm actually really glad that I'm going to start doing these YouTube videos because I have lots and lots of really great supplies and I haven't used them, and I need to use them, and this is a really good excuse for me to get out and use them. Alright, I'm going to take this one here. Okay, I'm just trying to be, I don't want everything looking the same way. That is a bright green. Well, I guess that's why it's called bright green. Alright, put that on. And that's a little bit translucent, so I should still be able to see. Oh yeah, okay, I like that. That's better. I'm going to right there. Oh, I like that. Alright, I'm gonna need another one of those off the page. So I got one off that page, one off that page. Oh, let's go over here. Oh, and of course, I usually like to work in odd numbers, but that just looks odd, so I'm going to put another one in. Oh my. I'll put this one in here. Yeah, I'll put one right here. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. I'm gonna dry that and then we'll come back. Hello again. Okay, so I have dried that. I added more red to the edge because I really like that, and I pulled out a few embellishments and I put out some copper paint on my palette paper, and I'm just gonna make some very random copper leaf fern, just a little something. And then again, here at the edge, I'll go back over that with red eventually. I just, I really wanted some copper in here to give it a little bit of shine. Although I have to say the copper isn't as opaque as I was hoping. I might have to come back and do something with that. But I just wanted something else. Okay, go over the other leaves, Andrea. There we go. Okay, that's good. I have my sentiment printed out. As soon as this is dry, the last thing I'll do is put the sentiment on, which reminds me I wanted the sentiment to go right there, and I wanted to leave that open. Ah! Oh. Alright. I have to wipe that up, because it has to be flat for my sentiment to go down. There we go. See? Everything is fixable. There we go. So I have some nice copper ferns around the edge. I need one right here. And one right there. Okay, now, step away. stop. Stop. Alright. Clean that puppy up. I'm going to... Where is my... Ooh. So that Studio G stuff, those are pigment inks and they don't dry right away. You have to be careful. I'll probably have to, when I come back over, when I finish this completely, seal the edges. So, let's see here. I've got credit card. I'm going to do a little bit of gold. I did a little bit of copper. I'm going to do a little bit of gold. So I told you I don't like straight lines. I don't generally like straight lines in my art. However, I like... Oops, that didn't sit on there very well. I don't know if you can see that. That is not laying down as much paint as I had hoped. Okay. Do I have another one of these? Is it just this card that's giving me a hard time? Yeah, that's a little bit better. There we go. I just gotta really put a lot of paint on it. And this is kind of to simulate maybe pine needles or sunshine coming through. There we go, that's better. Yeah, I really gotta load up the card with the paint, that's why. So yeah, this is just to simulate a little bit of something unorganic. So in my brain it's pine leaves, or I just felt that it needed something, because I don't find that copper is as reflective as I had hoped. Sorry. That is not going on the way I want. That's actually annoying me a little bit. So obviously I need practice with the credit card. You'd think as a shopper I wouldn't need practice with a credit card. There we go. That's a little bit better. Alright. Stop. Okay, stop. I'm good. Stop. A little bit of gold, a little bit of copper. Alright. And my sentiment is going to be in black. So I'm going to put that right here. And I was going to just put 3 little bouchons there. I can't remember the word in French right now because my brain is mush. And I also wanted to put this on as a kind of a homage to the sun. Let me get my glossy accents. Here. Because if I put that on, it will prevent me from doing anything else to this. I don't really want to do anything else to this. I want it to be simple, for lack of a better word. I feel like it needs a little bit of splatter though. Like I have a little bit of blue in the background. What kind of spray do I have here? I have a black spray. I don't want to do too much black because it's simply it's going to be black. I have a little bit of white, which of course isn't working. Oh, that's working. Please don't regret this. Oh, I just sprayed in the see-through so a bit excited. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay, stop. Stop, stop. Stop, 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 stop. Just very gently. I made that spray to be extremely opaque. On purpose, because I was finding that sprays that I had made before weren't very opaque. That's okay. Just need a little bit of something to break it up. Could be for a snowfall, right? Okay, so if I did a little bit of black, I gotta do a little bit of black. I have to. I'm sorry, I have to. Ah! Okay, that's way too much. There we go. There. There. Just. Okay, good. I just needed, because leaves are on the ground, right? A little bit dirty. A little bit dirty, a little bit dirty. My head's in the way. Okay. Ah! Don't touch it! And I'm running out of baby wipes. Okay, this smudged, so that's going to be fixed. There, see? Runs away. That's fine. It's good. Okay, so a little bit of black spray represents the dirt, a little bit of white spray, maybe an early snowfall. Nothing major. Okay. That's good. Now, I need... What do I need? I need to put my sentiment down. So this has to be dry before I can do that. And I'm going to correct that brand right now. Oops. Yeah, here we go. That's where I rubbed it off. I'm going to put that red in. There we go. Okay, that's good. So, sentiment. My sentiment is right here. Now I have some stickers. I learned how to do transfer in college, and I tend to really like it because then I can get exactly what I want. I can make up my own sentiments. I can do exactly what I want, and I can put it in the font that I want. I don't have to depend on a manufacturer coming up with what I want. So I'm going to do this with gloss medium, but I'm not going to do it on camera because it takes a really long time. What I am going to do is promise you that within the next week or so, and there's other videos out there, but I'll just show you the way that I do it. I was taught a different way than I do it, so I kind of evolved the process because I found that it worked really well for me. One of the things with transferring from paper onto a substrate is that sometimes you lose the edges of the toner because you rub too hard and stuff like that, and it was driving me nuts because I had a full page one time of really small lettering and I wanted people to be able to read it. So it was a bit of a problem. So I tend to do mine a little bit differently than others. But again, this video is already very, very long. So I'm going to do it off camera. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the gloss medium, slop it on, put that on, squeegee it so that it's perfectly flat, and then I'm going to let it dry. The key thing to remember is not to get the gloss medium on the back of the paper because then you won't be able to rub the paper off. Alright, so I'm going to do that, and then we're going to come back. We'll have the sentiment. I'm going to glossy accent on a couple of these just for bling, and then I might do some black outlining or some scribbling with a black paint marker or some white. I haven't decided yet. Alright? Okay, we're back. So I applied this with the with the Gloss Gel Medium because it's going to be one of my top coats. So that's why I didn't want to use the Mod Podge. And it's now completely dry. It's been sitting here for a while. So I've taken a damp cloth and I am going to start wetting the paper. And if any of you don't know what this transfer method does, basically what it does is you take your sentiment, whatever it is, or whatever image you want, and you print it in reverse. And it has to be a toner printer. It can't be an inkjet printer. This won't work with inkjet. So you either need, if you don't have a toner printer at home, you need to take your image that you want and photocopy it with a toner photocopier, and it will work. And then the gloss medium attaches that toner to your substrate, and when you rub off the paper, the toner stays behind. If you're overzealous with your rubbing, you could rub the toner off. And I found, as I said earlier, when I was at college and I learned how to do this, I found that the method that they wanted me to use, which was to put it down and then wait only a little while and then pull it up, that the toner wasn't staying on the substrate. It was a lot easier to peel it up. So one day I was really frustrated with that, and I just said I'm just going to let it dry, and I was warned not to do that, that it could ruin my image. However, I got my best results from that. So this is why I now let it completely dry before I start trying to take the paper off. And again, you just want to use really light pressure. You're just trying to remove the paper. You are not trying to rub off the sentiment, right? The sentiment is now adhered to the substrate with the gel gloss medium, or whatever you decide to use. You can use Mod Podge if you want. You can use a matte medium, whatever you want. For me, this is just the easiest thing I had because I was out of matte medium. And the gloss medium won't show up after I gloss over this entire thing when I'm done. And the reason why I'm doing that isn't because the acrylic paint needs it, it's because the edges are going to need it because it's a pigment ink as opposed to an acrylic paint. So as you can see here, the paper is starting to come off. It balls up very nicely. I used to do this with my finger until I rubbed off all my skin one time for a class project, which hurt. So now I tend to use just a cloth, and I'm a little bit more vigorous where it's just paper, and I tend to be a little less heavy-handed when I'm actually over the where the writing is. And you always know when it's done, or you can always know when it's done, is if you get to a point where you're not sure if all the paper's off, just let it dry and the paper will show up. It will be like a haze over what you've already done, and then you know you still have to remove a little bit of paper. And again, I like this method for a couple of reasons, as opposed to stickers, because I find the stickers, you always have the outline of the sticker, which really bothers me. I know a lot of people like to take a black marker or a white marker and just outline around it. For me, it's just not a look that I like. I like my sentiment to be right in my piece of work. So I'm just gonna finish doing this up, and I'll probably fast forward through the rest of this until we get to the end, because I'm probably gonna have to let this dry a couple times to make sure that I've gotten up all the paper, and then I will come back. I'll talk to you later. Okay, so I have my sentiment on. I've been playing with a couple of different things that I wanted to do with it, and unfortunately everything I tried I ended up wiping away. I'm struggling because of the way those letters are. I can't get in and do like a highlight beside it. I was trying to do it with the white pen, but the nib isn't fine enough to do it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do to try and bring that out, but I thought I would at the very least coat everything with a nice coat of the gloss gel medium, and that will get me over the hump until I can maybe tonight think about what I want to do. But I want to protect all this. I know I'm not going to want to change any of this, so I'm going to put a a fairly thin but even coat of the gloss gel medium on everything. This will dry clear, so I don't have any concerns about that. I'll put a little bit of texture on it if I don't get it nice and even, but you can use a spray if you want. You can use nothing if you want. It totally depends on what you're going to do with it. If you're going to sell it, you might want to put a protective coat of some kind on it, just so that it maintains the integrity of the piece for your client. As I said, acrylic paint does not need to be varnished or finished, simply because after it cures, it becomes plastic. So it's light fast, and I mean, you don't want to keep it in direct sunlight because the reds will fade over time if you don't take care of them. But they're very good. They're very well protected just on their own. So if you don't need to protect acrylic paints, but however, I have pigment inks on here, and I have some of those gold sprays, and that could, and this pigment ink around the edge. I want to make sure I get a fairly nice coat just around the edge. Oops. I should have used a smaller brush for this. I just don't want that red pigment ink to lift. I've been finding it's been coming off on my hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let this dry overnight, and tomorrow I'm going to sleep on this, and tomorrow I should be able to finish up this piece and post it onto my YouTube channel. You don't want to overwork this, because when you start playing with it too much, it can ball up on you and then create a mess. So you don't want to do that either. So there we go. Let me turn this around. Just take the excess off the edges, and there we go. Hey, I'm back. I'm still plugging away at this. I did a couple of things that I didn't like, so I tried outlining these with paint pens. So I did it in black, hated it, wiped it off, wouldn't come off, sprayed some alcohol on it, got most of it off. Took a gold pen, I'm going to outline them. I just don't find that they're showing up. I'm not going to do all of them, just some of the ones around the edges. And of course, I'm still struggling with what to do with that. I should have used a different, more bold font so that I could have gone around it with a white gel marker or a white pen. So, lessons learned. So I'm just going to take my little and just kind of scribble around it a little bit, just to give it a little bit of extra definition. Just a couple, not all of them, because that one you can see really well and that one you can see pretty well. I'm just gonna do just do a few of them, like this one here. Just a little bit of scribbling, nothing fantastic, just actually just gives it another layer on top. So now the gold is behind that gold. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm was hoping that my video was going to be out on the 17th, but last night I realized that I didn't like the way that was looking. So I put a layer of the gloss medium glaze on it to seal it in, which was one of probably the only reasons why I was able to get that black off with the alcohol there, with it completely ruining everything. So again, lessons learned. I know I want to put some of these embellishments on, but I don't want to do that until I finally figure out what to do with this. I may have to just live with this and say, you know what, because I tried outlining. I was going to do some scribbles around it, and I actually tried off camera with a couple of different colors, hated it, wiped it off. I was going to come in today and just use some yellow to kind of highlight it here, but that's not going to do anything. That's just going to focus your attention here, and it's still difficult to read. Autumn is Mother Nature's mixed canvas because of the canvas going into the dark leaf there. So you know what? I'm going to call this done. I'm going to put on my little embellishments that I had been wanting to put on using my glossy accents. This is my first one, and again, there's no such thing as perfect. I have to learn to let go of outcome. I must learn to let go of outcome, and just, this is really beautiful. I love the way the colors play and everything. I wished I had done something different with this, but I didn't, so you know what? Suck it up, sunshine. So I'm just going to put, I wanted to put these embellishments on, one, because I wanted to put embellishments on it. I wanted it to have a little bit of 3D. And two, I loved the way that the purple and green highlights from it came out. I just thought it was really cool and would add a little bit of sparkle to it. I might put a little bit of a darker edge around it, so as soon as I finish doing this, I'm going to put this one here. And of course, glossy accents is wonderful. It dries clear even though I've squished these out. There we go. It will dry clear, and I'm not worried about that at all. And then this big one is kind of just to represent the sun, I think, a little bit. Where do I want that one? I don't want it on that side. I kind of want it right here. Put a goodly amount of glossy accents down. I still get to see my purple leaf. A little bit of a squish. Squish. And then I have a nice little bead all the way around with my glossy accents. And I just turn it in there. So that will dry clear. I'm not worried about it. I don't know. There you go. See all that little rim of glossy accents around there? Because if you put a little bit too much on, that will dry clear and it'll be fine. And I'm going to put my last embellishment down here, right here. There we go. And just bear with me. I'm going to go and get a little bit of a darker pigment ink pad, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a darker edge around that, and then we're going to call that done. We're going to call that lessons learned for my first video. But I have to tell you, I love the background. Love it. Oops, I need to do this. Let me zoom out so that you can actually see what the heck I'm doing. There we go. So I'm just taking my pigment ink that's a shade darker. So it's kind of, see how, I don't know if you can see that line there? That's the red. Even though I covered it up with the glossy medium, it's still able to move. Yeah, look at that. Okay, I'm going to need something darker because that's not going to work. I have a darker brown. Yeah, I do. Let me put this one on. I'm really surprised that even though that's been sealed, it's still coming off. That is amazing. There. Just a little bit more maroon. Kind of a brownish red. There we go. And when I'm done, when it's dry and all the glossy accents are dry, of course that one's not straight, so that's making me mental. There we go. Which one's my wet one? This one's my wet one. Just Can I wipe up a little bit there? Nope, I should leave that alone. It's already started to dry. Alright. Stop touching it! Okay. First video. Love fall art. I'm Andrea Mercier, AnnLoam.ca. I would love for you to like, subscribe, and share my video. I also have an email where if you're someone who does paper art, I recently came into a stash of paper samples, tons and tons and tons of paper samples. So I ripped them all up, and if you want, I will put a little link right here called Happy Mail Request at AnnLoam.ca, and you can subscribe to my video or my channel and send me an email and say, hi, my name is Jane and I love your stuff and I would really like some Happy Mail, and I will get it to you wherever you are in the world. Don't you worry about it. Even international people, I will put something into the mail for you with all my paper samples and send that out to you so that we can start this wonderful journey together. I hope you have a wonderful day, and here's the last look. So autumn is Mother Nature's mixed media canvas. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.